Hey guys, how's it going? So today we're expecting a big load of trees to show up. There's Aaron and Paul. All hands on deck for this project. We also had a pile of mulch delivered to kind of hill in these trees until we're ready to plant. So about 2 weeks ago, Aaron and I went on a date day and we ended up at a nursery, as one does, as we do normally on our date days. We love just to go nursery hopping and or look at people's gardens, that sort of thing, go on drives. Anyway, we ended up at Jaker, which is, I don't know if they have a Caldwell or a Nampa address, but they're in Idaho. And they're a re-wholesaler that my parents' garden center has worked through for a lot of years. And we were able to walk their yard and pick out some really beautiful things. We have about 30 trees coming today, and they're all bulbed and burlapped. So they are not in containers, and we're not quite at the point where we can plant. In fact, we put off delivery an extra week because we had a cold snap last week. It got down into the teens, and we just thought, oh, we don't want these freshly dug trees to be sitting out here exposed. So we waited till this week where we're going to have temps in the 50s and the nighttime temps are supposed to be above freezing. We're still going to hill them in mulch until we're ready to plant, but it's going to be exciting. I don't really know how it's going to go. We have a tractor here with forks to help get the trees off of the truck. Mostly evergreens today. That's what we were focusing on since nothing is leafed out. It's kind of hard to pick out deciduous things. There are a few deciduous things though. So the plan is to have the truck come in the front there, come right over here, kind of like the mulch truck did, and we'll unload all the trees right in this area. Do you have any?
Well, we talked about, I heard you say in this area. So
yeah,
we're actually talking about putting them over there where the high tunnels were.
Okay.
I think there's more space. It's gonna mean, so we'll actually have the truck stop right there on the lane.
Okay.
And then we'll unload, you know, as if the back of the truck is right where the front of the tractor is.
Yeah.
And then we'll just take them over there to that corner. And what it means is we'll have to hook up the bucket and just move bucket load of mulch at a time, which, you know, it takes a little bit of time, but it's not like it's hard work because you got the tractor.
Right.
So,
well, it'd be hard work for me. I would mess something up for sure.
It'll just be a lot of trips back and forth. But I think that'll be better to keep it in the corner as opposed to keeping it all in this area. So anyway, that's the plan right now.
I actually like that plan. I think that the area by the high tunnels is maybe a little less exposed than this area over here. Let's go take a look. One day, guys, this whole spot is just going to be filled up with beautiful things. We're going to have a walkway coming through here. Oh, I can't wait. And all the trees will then go right here. This is where the high tunnels were. There's a little bit of a buffer with this fence. I mean, maybe they're just every bit as exposed probably as the other side. But anyway, it'll be nice to have them here because we can leave them here longer, I feel like, because there's not much going on yet in this spot. Okay, now we wait. I told Benjamin that he could come out. He's all excited about the truck and the tractor and things going on out here. He said he's gonna help lift the trees. Are you ready, bud? Oh, yeah, are you excited? Good. Well, Benjamin, the truck isn't here yet, but we're gonna go pound some T-posts into the ground and get ready to be able to tie them up. Here we go. It's chilly, huh? Whew. It'll get warmer. All right, bud, we're gonna be putting the T-posts right over here in this area. So all of these. You got one, dude? Whoa, look at you. Good job. Ooh, good job. That is long.
Great job, bud. Are you gonna help? Yes, dude.
Oh, don't hang on it, sweetie. You can help hold it up, but don't pull it down.
Total idiot move.
Are you okay?
Well, no, I mean, I'm fine.
Oh my goodness, you guys, look at this load. I'm so excited, Aaron. Look at those beautiful evergreens. They're so pretty. Oh, look at the color, you guys. Look at the color. Aren't those red ones beautiful? They're called flame willows. Yeah, beautiful cedars, pine, spruce. Oh. Okay, Benjamin, let's go watch the tractor. You gonna go see the tractor do its thing? Here's a few of them. Aren't they gorgeous and huge? The rest of them we just unloaded right off the truck onto the ground over there. Okay, so at this point what we're gonna do is work on moving the trees from near the truck over to this area, get them all tied up, and then we need to hill them up with mulch and water them in. That way they'll be totally fine with their roots not exposed to all the air and the elements until we're ready to plant. Like I said, I think I already mentioned we have some nice weather coming our way. We have to wait until we can get a auger and skid steer in here to aug all the holes. That's a huge help when we get ready to plant this many big trees, and we're not even sure exactly where all of them are going to go yet. We're going to work on placing, and now that they're here and I can see them here, it's going to be a little easier that way. Anyway, when we're done with all of that, I'll walk you through everything that's here and we'll talk a little bit about each one. Here's just a quick little look at this pile over here. I am so happy with how gorgeous these plants are. I mean, I knew each one of these plants were beautiful individually, but I didn't have a chance to see them all together in one big spot when we were at the nursery. And it's gorgeous, and bless those guys. I mean, Paul and Aaron worked hard today. I mean, it is nice to have the tractor to help haul things around, but there was a lot of like physical work that this involved as well. And you can see that all the base has been mulched in with those wood chips. It actually smells really good over here too. And they set them out to where it looks like it's designed, like the layers are beautiful. It's fun though to see these plants right now. Like this is winter interest right here. This is what they look like, trees and shrubs included, when, you know, there's nothing else really going on. So now let's take a little walk through and I'll just tell you a little bit about each one of these plants. So let's start with these because these just grab your eye right away. At first glance, when we were at the nursery, I thought that these were a dogwood, but they're not. They're a flame willow. That really surprised me. They're super winter hardy and they grow really large if you let them go. I mean, they can grow anywhere from 15 to 20 feet tall, 5 to 15 feet wide. That's a huge, huge shrub. That's like a tree shrub. And we've got 7, so there are 3 here and there are 4 over there. But they do act similar to a dogwood in that their new growth has the most vibrant color. And I did some research on this plant because I thought, well, you know, we could use some 20-foot things around here. I mean, there's definitely some spots that we need to fill in. But I read that if you cut them back every single year and just have the fresh growth, then they'll only get to about 6 feet or so every year. So I don't know if that in the end is really super duper healthy for the plant, because I know with dogwoods you can either do that every other year and then in the in-between year you cut out like a third of it, and maybe we'll do it like that if we put it in a spot where we want it to stay a little bit lower. But I liked to know that there was a way to keep them smaller if we wanted to. Otherwise we can let them just go. However, if you let them get to their full height and you're not cutting them back for new growth, you're not going to probably have quite the vibrancy, not all the way throughout the whole plant. You'll have the older growth down below that'll be more dull, and then you'll have the really bright new growth up at the top. But we have willows already in this yard, a couple of weeping willows we love, and they do really well. And they're adaptable to drier conditions, but they will love you for a really wet spot. Okay, let's go the next layer in. These are Fat Albert Blue Spruce. There are 3 of them. There's 2 right here, and I think the third one is right over here. Beautifully shaped though. In the end, they can grow 40 feet tall by 20 feet wide, but they are really slow. I love the icy blue color. We have hoopsii already, so I thought it would be fun to have a little bit of a different variety. They'll be fairly similar though. The thing about evergreens, especially slow growers like the blue spruce and a couple of the other ones that we got in this load, it's worth it to me to spend more to get a larger size evergreen, because the 10-year size on this one is only 10 feet by 15 feet. And when they grow 40 feet by 20, typically their growth rate slows a little bit as they get older and older on this variety. So, it could be a really long time until it hits its full size. So starting with something a little bit bigger already just gains us that many more years. And it's not always worth it to spring for something bigger. Like we planted some spring grove arborvitae out here in the south garden just nearby. And we started with really small ones, but they grow so fast that it's not as much of a weight for those as opposed to something like this. And they are a zone 2 through 8. So let's talk about this huge, tall evergreen back here. Let me swing around so we can have a better look at it. These are an experiment for us, you guys. These are a Deodora Cedar, and sometimes in our area, they do okay and they grow beautifully, and sometimes they don't. So we got these knowing that it's a possibility they may not thrive, but we saw these and who could resist? They're absolutely stunning. Look at this. They're a zone 6 through 9, which we are technically a zone 6 now. So now that we have more mild winters, maybe we'll have a lot better luck. But once they're established, they're supposed to be pretty heat and drought tolerant. So I'm hopeful. The thing that I think would get these more than anything is if we, one, have a really weird cold snap or our high winds. That might be something that they don't like. They usually grow to about the 40 to 50 foot tall range by about 20 to 30 feet. Back on the front side here, we have the Oregon green pines. These are Austrian pines. We have one planted way over there. It's tiny though. It's like a quarter of the size of these. These are also a really slow grower, and they do really well in our area. So we decided that's a really nice kind of emerald green color. This one fell in the mud and then it got all over Erin. I'll wait. I'm not going to hose it down right now because it's just too cold. Probably kind of dried off anyway. I could probably clean most of it off this way. They're a zone 4 through 8 and typically grow about 15 to 20 feet tall and 15 feet wide. So as evergreens go, it's kind of on the medium side of things. And right in between these two pines, we have a multi-trunk Canada Red Chokecherry, which they do really, really well in our area. My mom actually planted one of these in the nursery down at the garden center for shade because they do so well for us here. They're typically not bothered by much of anything. So she wanted to make sure that she had something in there that didn't get like super big and gorgeous and then all of a sudden was afflicted by some insect or disease or something like that. She wanted something tough. But they're fun because they kind of have a bicolor appearance in their leaves. Their new growth is purple. It kind of fades to a little bit of a dark green. So they always have a really fun look to them, and they get white flowers in the spring. And then we have a weeping white spruce, which this is the second one on our property. We have one planted on the west side of our house, actually, and it's doing really well. It's of the spruce trees, of the evergreens, it can tolerate a little bit more shade, which is what it gets up against the house. And you know, it's several years later and it's still doing really well. So these grow about 15 feet tall and only about 4 feet wide. So down there at the base, it's about, I mean, you can't really tell because it's in with these two, but it's probably 3-ish feet, maybe a little bit more than that. So it's kind of capping out on its width, and it'll just keep growing tall and narrow. They are a zone 2 through 8, but I really like the gray-green color. It's just very soft. And this right here, Blue Atlas Cedar, will be another experiment, just like the Deodoras. They're a zone 6 through 9. Sometimes they do really well here, sometimes not as much. They do prefer a little bit more acidic soil. That could be against us as well, but we can soil acidify around this tree and just kind of make it a habit, along with a few other things that we do that with. But they are supposed to be fairly adaptable to alkaline soil. So hopefully, as long as the soil is well draining, I think we may be okay. Let me get close to this one, because the icy blue, I mean, just, they're so gorgeous. And right here, a Norway spruce. It looks like a Christmas tree. Isn't it so pretty? So we have 3. I'll show you the other 2 are sitting back there. 3 of these can get enormous. I think these are just Apicia abies. Let me look. I don't think maybe it doesn't say. Yeah. So in ideal conditions, I have read that they can get up to 100 feet tall. I don't think that it'll ever reach that height here in our area. So we'll just see how these do. But I think they're absolutely beautiful. Love the structure of them, kind of like this open right here. And they're hardy to zone 3 and supposedly fairly fast growing. We shall test that out. Okay, now we have the Vanderwolf Pines. Kind of that silvery green blue. See that? Bicolor. It's so gorgeous. These are a zone 4 through 7, the most like soft puffball evergreens ever. And they grow about 20 to 25 feet tall and about 15 feet wide. They're another slow grower, but they're fairly good in our area. Pines just are. They're pretty adaptable to dry conditions. They take our wind. And these do get needle cast. You know, they will push out old needles. You can kind of see in here. So you have to pull this stuff out. That's just kind of the name of the game with pines. Okay, let's swing around the backside here. Gosh, isn't that the prettiest spot right there? I just want to set a table and chair right there. Just chill out here. Okay, so right here we have 2 clump crabapples. The variety is Prairifire. They get the most beautiful bright pink, almost on the red side of pink blooms in the spring. And you can see, if I get at the right angle here, how beautiful the bark color is. Kind of like the flame willow almost. So this is a group of 3, and this one right here is a group of 4. They have really nice shape though, a really nice globe shape. We'll be able to tell better once the leaves come out. And the leaves are kind of a reddish with some green in them. They are a zone 4 and their fruit is persistent. So they get small, bright red, persistent fruits that follow the flowers in the spring. And persistent means that those berries hang on. They don't fall off the tree and make a big mess in your grass. So that's kind of a non-factor, because typically the birds come in and it's wonderful winter forage for them. We have a crabapple right in, well, we have several, but the one right in front of the house, the birds just cover that thing and we never find any berries on the ground. It's wonderful. So usually new growth pushes out old berries if there is any, but I've never experienced any berries being left over. And right next to those, we have the 3rd Deodora Spruce, looking stunning. Next to that, Heritage Birch, multi-trunk. Okay, can we just appreciate this bark right here? Look at this. Look at that up against the Blue Atlas Cedar. It just shines. Oh, so absolutely gorgeous. I love it. So you can see these have 3 trunks. There's one on the other side I'll show you in a second. We typically buy in 1s, 3s, or 5s, or 7s, I guess, in the case of the willows, and 2 for the crabapples because I'm gonna flank something with these. Anyway, these birch trees usually grow about 60 feet tall by 60 feet wide, 70 feet if they're given ideal conditions. Birch trees do really well for us. We don't have them planted, or won't have them planted next to a really, like a river or a ditch, so it's likely they won't reach that 70-foot size. They're water lovers. In fact, they're known as river or water birches, but they have very high heat tolerance, which bodes well for us. Here are the other 2 Norway spruces. Just look at that. Just so gorgeous. That color is so vibrant. Those are going to be fun at Christmas time. And there's the other Vanderwolf right there, and the other birch tree, the 3rd. What an incredibly fun day. it's just fun to see some new things out here. Of course, we can't plant them quite yet. The ground, I mean, we could dig holes and things right now, so technically we could get them in the ground if we wanted to, but we're gonna wait till it warms up just a little bit. This next week we see a little bit of a warm up. We're supposed to be in the mid 50s and above freezing. I don't know how long that's gonna last, so we'll kind of wait it out a little bit and wait till it's a little bit more consistent, because last week we had temps that were, I think, 13. We got down to 13 one of the nights, and we don't want to do anything to shock these poor plants. So, you know, the wood chips around the base, I did water them in, so they're nice and tucked in for now. They should be good for a while. And you know, this is really what we wanted to focus on a lot this year. We have projects from last year that we have a lot yet to do, like the Hartley, finishing that area up and then starting in on the gardens around there, and the cut flower shed, getting that finished up and kind of developing the meadow a little bit more in the orchard. There's just a lot of fun things going on, but we wanted to really focus on developing flower beds, developing borders, and when you do that, the first step is to focus on bone structure, which is what all of this is right here. And in some cases, especially with the slow growing evergreens, it's nice to start with a little bit bigger pieces and then fill in with smaller stuff after that. It'll be fun to see how everything evolves, because I don't know if I mentioned, but we don't even know exactly where everything is going to go. We just have a ton of open space to fill. We just thought, you know, if we don't get certain items, especially these larger evergreens, if you don't get them early, you don't get them at all. That's just kind of how it goes. So we decided to set up a little area that we could just work off of as we have time to do it and decide where we want things to be. And I'll go into more detail, most likely, about all of these things as we find their more permanent locations out in the garden. We'll share that whole process with you guys. And that is it for today's project. It was so fun to be able to show you guys all of these things. I was excited for it last week. I was a little bummed when the order had to be pushed out another week, but happy to have them when the weather allows and is more conducive to moving these trees. I think that that'll give them a better start. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.